today with Doug Redler, the author of The Guitarist's Guide to Maintenance and Repair, and also the guitar tech to a couple pretty big stars.
Big stars, yeah.
Rich Robinson and Black Rose, Slash.
Yes, sir.
Doug is going to take us through on how to change our strings on a classical guitar. So let's start by learning just about the different parts of the instrument.
So your basic parts are the bridge. This little white piece is the saddle. Here's your sound hole. Here's the neck, metal frets, the nut, and your tuners. And this is a slotted headstock, which makes it a little more complicated to string.
So let's dive in. Where do we start to actually take the strings off the instrument?
Okay, well, I'm not going to use a string winder for this because of the way that the tuners are bent down instead of outwards, so it's hard to get a string winder in there. So I'm just going to use my fingers to loosen the strings. See, they're nice and loose. And right about the sound hole, I'll start cutting. Now to take the strings off on this end, it's very simple.
It's got knots, so is there like a
right,
kind
so
of
it's
easy way to
tied
do
on
that?
there, so you just pull the string up, slip the string through there, and just right out of the bridge. This end's a little tougher. Just unwrap it and pull it through. Well, what makes a classical guitar different than a regular guitar is that it uses nylon strings instead of steel strings like on your acoustic guitar and electric guitar. So now we have our nylon strings here, and as we know, both ends need to be tied, so it's a little more complicated. So the first step is simply putting it right through the hole in the bridge. I go about 3 inches. Bring it underneath the string itself. Give it a nice bend, make it tight. And on these strings, on the first 3 strings, the first 3, the E, A, and the D, I just give it 1 wrap because it's such a thick string. So we take it, we pull the string nice and tight, put it through the hole in the tuner, around, and then right back through where you just wrapped it around, and you have a nice knot there. I'm going to make it nice and neat with each wrap cleanly going towards the center of the guitar. Nice and clean, you're keeping a lot of tension with your forefinger. I've got a nice 3 or 4 wraps around there too.
All right, so we got all 6 strings on.
Finally.
It wasn't too bad, pretty easy. What's the next step?
The next step is stretching and tuning, stretching and tuning. The nylon strings take a real long time to settle. So you really have to spend a lot of time stretching them, bringing them back to pitch until the guitar stays in tune. So the first thing is, we're tuned up to pitch, and we're just going to start stretching, just like that. On these, you could put some muscle into them.
You just go between your finger and your thumb and...
Yep, just bring your hands up and down. I'll let you finish it off.
All right, I can do this. How's that? Is that good?
I'm tired of it.
All right, so say we're in tune now. We stretched them out completely. Is there anything left to do?
Just clip the ends that we're not using on here. Get them as close as possible. And by the bridge here, you want to get nice and tight too. Beautiful. And you're ready to play.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Great.